welcome back. We just had a brief talk about membership and the education rally before the break, and we're back into membership to continue what we have to say. So,
I guess, how do you, all of you feel about the current membership law and how they determine who and who isn't a member of Ganawage?
I find that in itself is a little has gray areas. You know, there's certain parts of it that really don't make sense, in a way. Like how do they determine who's Native?
I think it's a really touchy subject because just only because there's so many people that could be excluded, and there's like fraction of people that are included, and those people that are included, they don't really feel like they need to include the other people that are already excluded. You know, that's because they want more people to be included, but the government doesn't want it. The Canadian government doesn't want it. Everyone else wants it. Like, yeah, cool, what's up, you're Native, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet, let's meet more Natives, right? But, I mean, if they're already excluded, there's always the closed-minded people that really don't want more of the, C31s. I don't mean to call them that,
But really, like, you have 3 different categories, right? I mean, there's the non-native C31s and natives.
I think that's even like kind of mean to say, like to call
It's
them
mean
that.
to say it. It really is mean to say it, but that's what they're categorized in.
it's already
And
categorized like that.
it already is, yes. So why are they categorized like that?
Like, to me, it's just like, if you're Mohawk, you're Mohawk, and if you're not, you're not. Like, I really don't like this whole idea of blood quantum, and I know with the current membership law, so right now they determine who's from Ganawagis with the 4 great-grandparents rule, and it's like, basically, it's still blood quantum, but in disguise. It's like, either way, it works out to being like, you have to be 50% or more.
Really?
And I guess it's something that I just, like, I think people need to let go of the, like, idea of blood quantum. Because, like, it's just,
But you
it's
know,
not what it's, from what I've heard and, like, research and, like, it's not our traditional way of.
it isn't. But you also have to think, like, there are really, like, a lot of people who are native, but they aren't of, like, say both their parents are from town, are from Ganawage. Not all 4 of their grandparents are from Ganawage. So are you gonna include them in Ganawage if, say, only one of their grandparents are, as opposed to somebody who has 3 or 4 or 5?
Well, when you start talking about blood quantum, though, like, that brings you back to the Indian Act, and the whole reason why the Indian Act was set up was by the government so that basically we could be wiped out. That's pretty much, you know, and the council or whoever is still putting that into progress, you know what I mean? Like, they changed it, you know, you have to go through the council of elders, but even that's kind of degrading. You have to sit there in front of a whole row of elders and say, well, I'm native enough. You know, how native are you? Well,
It's been
I do
suspended
this.
for like a couple of years now.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's like a really rough process, that, and I don't know. I know it has to be done, but I just don't like it. You know, it's not nice.
Like, I don't think there's like one easy solution to like, you know, to make everyone happy. Like, no matter what, there's going to be a law that's in place that isn't going to, you know, satisfy everyone. But with me, the biggest problem is I don't think that the law takes into consideration people's contribution to the community.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's people, like, there's always those arguments that why we don't want non-natives here. You know, we're running out of land, where they're abusing our rights and our privileges. They're, like, ruining our bloodline and stuff like that. And there's always, like, arguments that can, like, counter that. And
But, like, one thing that is what really gets me is, okay, you have this blood quantum thing in action, in motion now, and the whole grandparent thing in motion. Why does the council only act now, as opposed to 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when they could have maybe had a better structure now?
Oh, I think it's been done in the past where they tried to do things like that.
But like
Yeah,
like
like
now,
the law's been revised multiple times, but
like how why do they wait till it gets to this point to actually start? Why do they like they should really keep it, at a steady pace to keep going.
But what I find doesn't make sense, like what you were saying, is the contribution thing. Like, I can understand if there's someone living here and they're just here because, like, they're just here. They're not for any other reason, like maybe because they have a spouse or something like that. But I mean, yeah, if you're using the resources and taking advantage of things, then yeah, but then maybe you don't have any business here. But it's like, you can't put everyone in the same bucket, like,
Yeah.
oh, they're all like this. It's like, well, no, you have to look at every situation differently. Every situation is different. Like, I don't know, it just
yeah, like
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Every situation should have been like really like cut down piece to piece by whoever.
In the article that was on the front page of the Eastern Door, Carl Horn said he didn't regret anything he did besides sending the letter to, I think it was Daryl Williams, his partner, and he's in a wheelchair, and his partner really helps him.
Mhm. Yeah,
So like
stuff
that's like
that,
something like that. Like I think you need to take into consideration,
Mhm.
and other things like not every non-native wants to come here to live like a tax-free life
Yeah.
and like live an easy life. And there's some people who really want, and I don't want to say become native, but like I guess to contribute to society. And I think that's where it comes into like citizenship versus membership, where you
Mhm.
can have people who are citizens but not members,
Yeah. Because, I can understand what you're saying. Yeah.
and citizens who aren't they don't have access to those rights, such as exempt from taxation and stuff like that. And on the subject of taxation, I really don't have a problem with taxing non-natives who live here. I mean, a lot of people get afraid of that word and just don't like it, but I mean, if you take into consideration like their contribution, and they're willing to like be taxed to live here, I mean, it's kind of like a win-win.
Yeah.
It's just like if we move out there, we're still
Yeah.
taxed. Both my brothers live outside. They still get taxed everywhere they go. It's the same thing. Them living here and us living there.
The only thing that I found was like kind of backwards was, like what they were doing now is like, oh, okay, well, you're not native, get out of here. But back in the day, we used to adopt people into our clan system. That's why the Bear Clan's so big. It's because everyone was adopted into it. So aren't we doing exactly the opposite of what, I understand at the time, like, we had all this land and all this stuff, yeah, but, you know what I mean? It's still, like,
I think
it's so, like, touchy that you don't even know, no one knows what to do.
I think as long as they like, if ever like non-natives were allowed to live here, and there would be like strict guidelines and stuff like that, and I think they would have to make an effort to not be Ganyekeha, but to practice like our traditions and learn language. And I know not everyone, even who are Mohawk, does that, but
That's the thing, there are some people who aren't from town who are willing to learn,
Yeah.
compared to people who live in town and they don't care.
and if they have children, to raise their children in that way, not to raise, if they're non-native and they're like Irish or something, not to raise their child as like an Irish Catholic, but to raise them as a Ganyekeha.
Okay, we're gonna have to go to commercial for now.